What I believe we've uncovered and are trying to show is that there was a great worldwide system of religious teaching which was disseminated all around the world long before anything that we think of as history today ever began. I want to start with just a very short reading from the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead concerning the sun god Ra. Men praise thee in thy name of Ra. Millions of years have gone over the world. I cannot tell the number of those through which thou hast passed. Thou dost pass over and dost travel through untold spaces, requiring millions and hundreds of thousands of years to pass over. Somehow it seems that the ancient Egyptians knew things about the sun that we have only been rediscovering through science in the present century, that the sun is indeed a star, that it's on a journey through space. Indeed, it's on a 250 million year orbit around the galactic center. This is one of the worst things about the Egyptological analysis of the pyramids, in my view, is that they have determinedly attempted to subtract the pyramids from the cosmos, to consider the pyramids purely as the tombs of pharaohs, for which there's no evidence whatsoever. But these monuments, in every sense, are astronomical monuments, as we'll be seeing. And this is Angkor Wat, viewed at dawn on the spring equinox. Like the Sphinx, Angkor Wat is an equinoctial monument. It's intended to tell us the day of the equinox, because it's only on that day that the sun rises perfectly centrally over the central tower of Angkor Wat. The temples, we know from archaeology, and it's good archaeology, were built around 1,000 years ago. Angkor Wat was actually finished in 1150 AD. If that correlation isn't a coincidence, then shouldn't we expect to find it occurring at dawn on the spring equinox in 1150 AD? The mystery of it is that it isn't a skyground diagram of 1150 AD, but it's a skyground diagram of 10,500 BC, just as Giza is. So we have a situation in these two sites where we have the temples of Angkor mirroring the constellation of Draco at dawn on the spring equinox in 10,500 BC. At the same moment, we have the Sphinx mirroring the constellation of Leo, and we have the pyramids of Giza mirroring the constellation of Orion. I think we're looking at a deliberate plan here, but the mystery is who disseminated that plan, who spread that plan, so that we find it not only widely separated places geographically, but also places that are widely separated in time.
I got a really lame question, and that is, what happened 10,500 years ago?
The date that comes up with the astronomy accords with 10,500 BC, 12,500 years ago. This was at the heart of the tumultuous end of the last ice age. And there was an enormous rise in sea levels at the end of the last ice age. And really, it's not been established, and it isn't established knowledge as to why it was that the last ice age came to an end. My own views on this have been evolving as I've studied the subject further. And presently, I find the best explanation to come from the work of Sir Fred Hoyle in England. He's an astronomer, and Professor Chandra Wickramasinghe at Cardiff University, who have related the end of the last ice age to cometary impacts with the Earth. And they believe that there were two impacts, one which occurred precisely in 10,500 BC, and the other which occurred 2,000 years later in about 8,500 BC. They believe that both the impacts were of kilometer-sized bodies, that both occurred in oceans, that they threw an enormous amount of water vapor into the upper atmosphere, that the water vapor created a greenhouse effect, and that the greenhouse effect caused the ice to melt. But irrespective of the cause, the fact of the matter is that the end of the last ice age was a gigantic cataclysm by anybody's standards. It was a cataclysm in which 70% of all species living on Earth were wiped out at that time. And at the end of it, sea levels had risen by 400 feet. Now actually, with a 400-foot rise in sea level, you don't need an Atlantis in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean or a Lemuria in the middle of the Pacific. What you have is a vast worldwide continent of coastlines which have been inundated. And I suspect that the place archaeologists ought to be looking is offshore on those drowned coastlines of the pre-Ice Age world. This is what I and all my colleagues working in this field feel, that we are a species with amnesia, that we've forgotten something of incredible importance in our own past, and that it's almost a kind of trauma reaction to how important that is, that we're prepared to shut our minds to the evidence of an antiquity, which is very different from the antiquity that is presented to us by Orthodox historians.